Lexington. Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's no human being on the planet I'd rather be talking to more than Sal Frelick right now. Lexington. So nobody cares. Whoever listening in Seattle to this, nobody cares. But I coached at Concord Academy basketball. Yeah, I ran a lot of isolations. Lexington Christian. Yeah. So anyway, this is what I wanted to talk a little bit about is Northeast or being baseball player in Northeast. I know you probably talked to this about this a lot, but obviously Northeast high school. Then I was Boston College. I don't know if. I'm anxious to get your take if it's evolving where it's more accepting because we have more information. It's not just, you've only played X amount of games. But now if someone plays, you say, okay, we see this, we measure this, we measure that. I don't know. You went through it, so right. Yeah.
And I think when I was in high school, it was that wasn't the case. It was definitely more, you need eyes on you. And it was a lot more of guys in the Northeast maybe staying here for college or whatnot, just because those were the schools that were able to get eyes on you. But now I think it's great with the video because coaches don't need to be in person necessarily to see guys. But when I was in high school, it was definitely either you need a scout or a coach to be at the game, or you go do a camp. You go to the BC camp, you go to the Harvard camp, whatever it is. Yeah. There'd be 30 coaches there from whether it's the NESCACs or the Ivies or whatever it is, and that's how you got eyes on you. But that's what it was.
Did it worry you? I mean, because I've known people who've gone down and say IMG Academy or whatever. People move, say, hey, listen, we got to get more eyeballs, got to play more games. Yeah. I mean, but you had your buddies.
That's it. I mean, for sure. I wouldn't say it worried me, but just because also I wasn't, I had no intentions of getting drafted out of high school. Yeah. BC was my only offer, was also my dream school. So it was in my backyard and I knew I was going to be able to at some point get in front of them. But for the kids and I grew up with kids that had more aspirations of either getting drafted out of high school or going to a college maybe down south or whatnot. And those kids for sure did more showcases or whatnot to get those eyes in front of them. But for me, especially my buddies too, it was you're from here. I wanted to play at home in college. So everything I needed.
And BC, you were locked in. No other options, really?
Oh yeah, that was it.
That works out well, I guess.
Yeah, it did. And I definitely I actually had more football offers out of high school.
Really?
For believe it or not.
No, I believe it.
For especially my junior and senior year, but I committed to BC in between my freshman and sophomore year for baseball, and then I started to get football offers after my junior year. I actually committed to BC for football and baseball. My junior year, I planned on playing both there, and ended up talking with my baseball coach, and he was like, dude, I think you should just play baseball.
I should know this. What position football?
Well, I was a quarterback.
Yeah.
But I got recruited. I got recruited as an athlete, so I would have been a slot or punt return, kick return. But yeah, and my baseball coach at VC was like, I think you should just do baseball. And I was like, no way. So I told my football coach in high school, hey, open it up, let these guys know. But none of those schools wanted me for baseball, and I really wanted to play both. And
is that hard pulling the cord on
it? Was hard. Yeah, it was hard. I mean, even when I was in college, those first 2 falls, I was like, oh man, I want to just strap on the pads. But and on campus, and you see how big those dudes are. I'm like, oh, maybe.
Who was the BC football coach then? Do you know?
It was Adazio.
Oh, Adazio. Okay.
So yeah, when my freshman year was Adazio, and that's who recruited me, and then Coach Halfley was there, who is now he's a Miami Dolphins coach. So yeah, Adazio and those guys were who recruited me.
It's interesting because pulling, I joke about pulling the cord. Anytime you're doing something, I just had the conversation with your teammate Brandon Sprout about Nolan McLean. I mean, this is sort of the same, but he was pitching and hitting all the way to double, and so to pull the cord on something, it's hard. It's not easy.
It's hard in there. Yeah, I mean, I played hockey in high school too, and I mean, my last high school hockey game ever, I was like distraught. I was like, that's
That was
it.
it.
I'm never going to play hockey again. So like all the sports, like they're going to come to an end at some point. And I'm just, lucky enough to still be doing one.
Can I tell you also, you led me to one of my other favorite topics, which is not just specializing in one sport. And obviously, the preeminent guy when we talk about this is Mike Trout. And I've talked to scouts about when drafted. Sure, he might have slid a little bit. He was a Northeast guy, New Jersey, but he football, basketball, baseball, didn't specialize. Was a first round pick, but probably maybe would have gone higher. But still, what made him, and you talk to him, and he's very, very adamant about to do all these other sports. I mean, you probably the same way, right?
Anytime I get to talk to kids, young kids in middle school, high school, the only thing I tell them is like play as many sports as you can. Like, I think for me, it was the winter was hockey, the fall was football, spring and summer was baseball. And it was like, I didn't even think about picking up a bat in the winter. I didn't think about picking up a hockey stick in the summer. But like when it was time for that season, like I was all in on that. And I think when I got to college, that was like the one edge I had on guys was just being able to, I think I understood just the competition aspect of, how to compete in different environments. And I learned that by being in a huddle or, being in a locker room in hockey. And when I got to college, I knew nothing about baseball. Like I was a very mediocre baseball player. And that was when I really, first time I ever played a sport year round. And that was the time for me to really learn it. I don't think you need to do that before you get to college. I think it's important to, play different sports, even physically, like putting your body in different situations. And that's what I think helped me the most. And I still carry with me. And that to understand there is a time for playing one sport. And for me, it was college.
I don't want to use the word discouraging, but is it or disheartening, but I'm going to use disheartening because this is the way everything's going now. I mean, starting, by the way, when kids are 6 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, little Johnny, I see his TikTok or YouTube video. We have to keep up and we have to play baseball 365 days. I mean, is that?
Yeah, no, it is. It's not yet. I see kids that are like, I'm a PO, and I'm like, dude, you're in 7th grade. Like, well, you should be having fun and playing different sports in different positions. Like, and I think there's a aspect to it too. Like, you just don't get burnt out. Like, I think if I played baseball year round since I was 12 years old, like, I might have gotten burnt out or not have fallen in love with the game like I am now. And it's tough. I wouldn't trade the world for, playing football and hockey in high school.
Yeah, but the burnout is a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, our CEO, Joe Kelly, he said, he stopped playing because he wants to start skateboarding
Yeah.
But it's a real thing. Yeah. Sure. So when did you realize, when you got to college, like you said, you had a long way to go, but you got there. When did you realize this is going to become a reality? Because now you get momentum, you get eyeballs. Maybe somebody says something to you.
Yeah.
They're like, what is like, what? I'm going to be a high draft pick? Like, when did that happen?
Probably my junior year of college, which was my draft year, and probably with 3 weeks left in the season is really hit oh man, maybe I can do this, obviously I had a good freshman year, was fortunate enough to find my way on the field, and then sophomore year was COVID, so we actually didn't play.
Yeah.
And then my junior year, which was basically my second year, came back and put together a pretty good year, and by the end I was like, oh wow, I think I'm gonna get drafted, and that's kind of when it set in. But there's such a long road because you get drafted, and then you get to the minors and it starts all over again, right?
Yeah.
You see now too, a lot of the college guys getting pushed through faster, but when I got drafted, that wasn't the case.
No.
It was I was going to the complex league, I was going to every level, I wasn't skipping a level, and you're gonna have to perform at each level to go to the next one. So there's still this huge journey in front of you after you get drafted. So it wasn't like, oh great, I got drafted, I'm gonna be a big leaguer, or so even that realization didn't quite set in until later, once I got to AAA.
So again, sometimes somebody says something, you remember that first time somebody says something to you, like you say, it's 30 weeks out.
Yeah.
And was it a scout? Was it a coach? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just, you see, my junior year I was doing the, you meet with every team.
You
have your meetings and stuff like that. So I was doing those, and that's when I kind of started to realize, oh wow, it looks like teams might be interested. I might have just tricked enough people to get drafted here. But I would say once I started having those meetings with the scouts and the organizations leading up to the draft, and then even like before the draft, having calls with GMs and stuff, and talking to my agents and being like, wow, I'm gonna get drafted.
Lynn, just the last thing, I appreciate your time. When you do integrate into the minor leagues, like you're a high draft pick, but like still, you're looking around, and is there any doubt? You have any doubt because you're also put in the crosshairs because you're a high draft pick, right?
100%.
Right. That's a thing. So you probably feel you have to live up to that to a certain.
Yep.
I mean that whole dynamic must have been. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time, I was really living by myself because in college, I obviously was, but I was with my best friends.
Yeah.
In a dorm, and I was.
And by the way, if you needed your laundry, exactly. Yeah.
And so this was the first time I was really on my own. I went and I hit 120 in high A my first year, and I was that first offseason I was like, oh my gosh, I got 3 more levels of. If I even get through there. So like there's always doubt, but you trust that, it's in there, and
when did it flip? Did it flip?
It flipped that next year. I think I came back and had a good off season, and it was the first time we played a lot of games too. When I was in college, the most games I played in a season was 50, and now I'm playing 150. So it's 100 more games, and you realize like how big the sample size is, right? So, an 0 for 20 in college is like that can kind of set you back because it's not a big sample size, but like here it's like I'm gonna have 4 of those a year, and it was the realization like that's gonna happen and it's gonna be okay. It's a long season, and not to really worry about an 0 for 4 because you're gonna have 600 plate appearances. So understanding that really helped, and remember that first full year of minor league baseball I had, first 150 games was like, wow, it's a lot of baseball, and you really don't need to get discouraged after.
That's a good perspective. I lied. I have to ask, what's the best compliment you think you've gotten? That's like, I
don't know.
Nah, well, I'll go. Yeah, I'll say your brain has never been hotter. There's one. But I'm sort of like moments in my life where people has said something that just sticks.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely been like, and I think the compliment I get the most is just the grittiness and the hustle. That's just what I really, really take to heart. And I don't care if, again, I'm 0 for 20, but as long as people are, especially my teammates, are like, he's going to run hard to first, he's going to dive, he's going to get dirty, and I'm being a good teammate. Like, as long as I keep hearing those things, like, that's the ultimate compliment for me, more so than, results.
All right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.